All right, Matty, welcome back. Ask Matty Show. We are back again, team, talking about your crypto topics that you are throwing at Matty here. Matty, how are you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing great. I had an excellent weekend. Needed that little social recharge, but I'm ready to come back, talk to you guys about your crypto questions, and get after it today.
Team, we're getting into Casper. We're getting into some of your XRP topics at the end of the show, but also, too, are we buying shit coins? That's the big question of today, and hopefully Matty can stand on business here and give you guys that roundabout. But before we get into the content here, team, become a crypto charge. Remember, click the link in the pinned comment down below. It'll take you directly to our website. Our education platform is cryptocharge.com. Nobody else is doing it, team. Nobody else. You go on. I'll name names. I won't, but I will if you ask me. All these other people, they just come on YouTube and talk about hopium. I'm constantly going on some of these YouTube channels, Matty, and they shill, their favorite cryptos of choice. And we try to be broad, but you got to understand our takes here. We are XRP, we are Casper, we are investing in these assets. Obviously, if something fundamentally came out crazy about these, we'd be gone. You never see us again. But those are what we're choosing to invest in, and a lot of you guys' questions today are about those cryptos. So, Matty, are you ready to get into the content?
Let's do it, baby.
Why would you buy shit coins? He's basically slapping you. He's talking about our Casper and XRP here. When you can just buy Bitcoin and ETH with good timing.
Why don't you want to just buy NVIDIA right now, bro? Why not, right? Like, just go ahead and just snap up a bunch of NVIDIA, right? Long term, it's going to do great, right? NVIDIA in the future is going to be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. It's not good timing, right? With Bitcoin right now, we're at a key retrace level. We're between 702 and 786 right now. Historically, what we've seen is some sideways action from Bitcoin, and altcoins performing really, really well right now. When you look at even the other altcoins that I'm not invested in right now, they have outperformed Bitcoin many times over, and they're not even at a new all-time high yet. Solana being a great example of that. AVAX being a good example of that. We're seeing many altcoins that provide good value to the overall crypto ecosystem outperform Bitcoin even within retrace levels, right? So this is kind of the caveat is, if you're talking about with good timing, you're generally buying the bear market either which way. That's good timing, right? Good timing isn't, hey, I just saw price waking up and now it's a good time to get in. No, you didn't have good timing. You have poor timing and you're now involved in this hype cycle. And you most likely will sell at a bad time too, because you're following the same people that said, hell, now is a good time to get into Bitcoin. ETH has been an underperformer big time this cycle. ETH barely started breaking out in the last 30 days. We've just broken structure, thrown back to the structure, and kind of shown that we're ready to make some higher moves here. So ETH, compared to a lot of other alts, has been a major underperformer. The other thing that we've talked about many times, right, is if you're only going to buy Bitcoin and ETH, and this is your whole plan forever and ever, amen, right? You're going to have diminishing returns, right? And for some of you guys, that's fine. You're like, I'm going to put $10 million in this market. I'm so loaded. I'm going to put 10 million, 5 million into ETH, 5 million into Bitcoin. And 20 years from now, I'm going to have a whole bunch of money. Yeah, sure. Maybe that's a good plan for a handful of people out there. For the most of us, we're here to extract as much money as humanly possible from this market and as safe as we possibly can without getting involved in the projects that are too small of a microcap or don't have enough of a proprietary fundamental basis that, shows that it stands alone or outshines some other competitors, right? You have to kind of just understand what your overall goal out of this is. When I see that the average gain for a lot of these altcoins is in a bull run is like 10 to 100x plus, and that Bitcoin, even from now up to 500K, doesn't come anywhere close to that, right? Like, why are we involved in it as our main and only assets, right? They're not guaranteed winners, right? They're not. Every single stock out there, every other asset you see is not a guaranteed winner. Microsoft's had bad days. If you were to get into a guaranteed winner like Snapchat was on a huge run for a super long time, lost most of its value in 2022, had Bitcoin-esque falls in the Snapchat chart, right? Netflix got its teeth kicked in over this last cycle. What happened with Netflix? You guys still love Netflix. You still think it's a great product. You still probably subscribe to it and pay the egregious fees they ask for every 6 months, right? If you want to watch in 4K, it's another $10, My point being is you guys don't feel any differently about those assets, right? Even though they're, some of them were smaller caps, and even though they've crashed greatly, right? You would still invest in them now. I just look at, if there's an NVIDIA out there, and maybe there's another, microchip provider that can maybe be up and coming, that can provide an overall better ROI in each cycle, right? And that's not for everybody. If Bitcoin and ETH is for you, go for it. I'm here to make money. I'm here to grow my bag, and I'm not going to do that by just buying Bitcoin and ETH.
That was a great Netflix jab, Matty. That was so. If that went over your heads, you probably don't have Netflix. Banana Man says Casper coming up on a 3 years in a range. Can't imagine what's going to happen. You thinking utility coins will hit last? Also, you guys need to cover Qubic. It's funny you talked about it on the other show, and so it's he wants Qubic, not me, Matty.
Yeah, we could definitely do a little research on Qubic. I want to say that the last part, I don't know what the Q stands for in it, but it's Universal Basic Income Coin. So what are the stipulations there? Are there post-sale obligations? Is it on the chop block for being a security? These are just some of the things I consider, guys. And I only think about these things specifically because I sat through this XRP case for as long as I did, right? If I hadn't been as fundamentally confident in what Ripple was doing and the separation between Ripple and XRP, I wouldn't have had that same conviction, right? So I just want you guys to be very careful when you get into assets and make sure that when you read it, right? When you read it, try to put the Howey test up next to it, even though we kind of have like this gray zone with it. And if it feels like it kind of fits in there, just be careful, okay? That's all I got to say. And again, I haven't done enough research on it to say, this is a bad coin, but I know that that's what those last four stand for. And I personally get kind of like an icky feeling about that. That's all. Now, we can look at it from a technical perspective on a different day, but let's focus on Casper for now. Yeah. Casper in a 3-year range. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the chart here really quickly here as a team. And this looks again a lot like a lot of other assets that we've seen break these structures, right? You have just this long accumulation zone that's kind of been building below the highs from 2021 as well as 2022. We technically created a little bit of a distributive structure here in 2021 leading to this final breakdown. We built a really, really strong floor in here, right? We see that like 2.5 cents, 1, 2, 3 tests in here, breaks higher, trying to establish a higher low here in the 3-cent region, right? A half cent higher than we were previously. And these assets definitely, or structures like this, tend to break out, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple other examples here. And this is what my team understands now. They understand that these are the asset structures that we really like. Tell me that VeChain doesn't look exactly like that Casper chart. Breakdown, long time in the sideways accumulation, comes to the top of the range, throws back to the top, to the pivot zone, top of these MAs, gets its break higher. VeChain is officially broken out of its accumulation zone. What about HBAR, right? Look at HBAR here, team. Long sideways accumulation. Breaks down, throws back to the pivot zone, breaks over top of range. Now we're trying to break over the 200 week here. We're seeing some big momentum in our favor. Last one we're going to look at here, and I'm sure you guys remember this was the leader in the last cycle. Look at that on Chainlink. Boring, long, sideways accumulation. What changed here fundamentally? Nothing. The Chainlink bulls that I was actually following only got more bullish in here. And that's how I feel about most assets that are in this capacity as well. Breaks out finally, doesn't even throw back, and now we're making a flagging structure breaking over the 236, right? So when you look at Casper, guys, I know that it's so easy to write it off when you're comparing it to some of the other alts that are already just paraboling right now, but you guys can see how quickly it can change, and once that momentum's in our favor, boy, the community, quote unquote, is right there. Everyone believes in the future of this asset. The adoption is crystal clear, right? So I want you guys to look at these kinds of charts, burn them into your brains. When you look at even the next short-term little pop that we could get up here to that next major resistance around like that 18 cent region, you guys can see from even current market, you're getting like a 3.5x just to that next major resistance level. And again, I'm expecting well over $1 by this next cycle, but do not let accumulation structures like this, especially ones that have established a strong base, scare you away from investing, because in fact, it's the best way to go about it. Last example, and again, I know that this was not part of the question, but looking at sushi here, which we mentioned recently, right? What did I see in here from my team? I said, hey, we were going through a lot of charts. I was looking at some dexes. I don't have any dex exposure. I wasn't planning on adding a lot of spot to my bag, but I looked at sushi and I was like, wow, this is structurally really set. I'd actually like to have a little DeFi exposure. I think this would be a great way to have some DeFi exposure. So I saw this flag in here. I said, you know what? We're buying the accumulation zone. Anything below $1.25, $1.30 is a good spot for me. So I bought into this flag here, saw a nice break here, right? So once we flip 155 in here, we're going to clear out 582, right? And that's the exact same situation that we have over on Casper. Sideways accumulation, once you break over top of range and reestablish it as new support, you're absolutely moving up to those next liquidity zones. We've seen it over and over and over again like clockwork. So you guys can do what you want to do. Chase the next shiny thing. I'm always going to buy these bases like this because they're the most asymmetrical opportunity and giving me the best overall risk to reward ratio.
Matty, flip back to that Casper chart really quick. I have a question. When it hits that 18 cent region, I'm just going to say region because not exact 18 cents, or maybe for you, are you going to sell a portion of your Casper?
Yeah, I'll take a little trim here. So that's what I've been doing with a lot of my assets is if there's a big illiquidity zone, and that's what we have here is when you have like a big top that was previously providing big resistance and we never revisited it yet, that becomes an illiquidity zone or an imbalance zone. So if we're most likely going to reach up into that zone and see a reasonable sized knockback. So if we get a very large impulse, let's say over maybe a week's time, we get, this impulse, a 3x impulse up towards the 18-cent region, I'm going to trim a little bit of my bag there, and I'm going to either hold on to it and kind of look around to see my other bags or other picks that I have kind of on like a warm list on my pick list, like I've talked to you guys previously about. Just because you want to get involved doesn't mean you have to get involved immediately. So it's good to have a hit list of items that you're potentially interested in, but only if they offer a good pullback or a good price you're interested in. And I'll look to either re-enter Casper at a higher low, or I'll dump it into something else that I see as an accumulation structure, or another asset that's making a higher low that I want to add to, right? So I get more flexibility when I'm in these opportunities and these structures here versus trying to buy a higher low, because I'm a little bit more condensed on both my entry price as well as kind of my timeline expectations. So that's what I'll be doing. I'm doing a little trim at 18, but it's going to be a rotational play. The money's not just leaving the market. It's going to be more efficiently replaced into the market.
I love that. All right, a follow-up to our after-hours show of last week, not this week, but last week, where we talked about Gary, and this was a follow-up. I want to give you that. I want you to preface that because he didn't mention Gary by name here, but you can obviously tell right here. Robo says, I don't understand this. If an expert on something has reservations, then hear him out. Why would you be knocking him for an opinion?
Okay, brother. So first of all, if you were to fully listen to what I said in the last show, I said you can go and watch the lectures that he gave at MIT, and you guys can go check out those videos. We'll go ahead and link them again below in this video for you, okay? So you guys can go back and watch them. What I said was, as somebody who is an expert, meaning that you went to go teach at MIT, right? They're not going to just let any schlub walk through the door and teach about, technologies, right? What he says in those lectures contradicts what he says now about cryptocurrency and DLT in the future. It contradicts his definition of sufficiently decentralized when he was teaching blockchain at MIT versus when he moved into a regulatory position. So what I'm saying is that he's taking his expertise and he's using it in a very evil way, right? He's leaning on it as I'm the expert, right? I think that we've all felt a lot of the same way when we saw Anthony Fauci coming out during COVID, right? It was, hey, this is all very dangerous. Don't do this. Wear a mask, right? But then you flip to him at a baseball game and he's not wearing a mask and, I'm different than you guys, right? So Gary Gensler's kind of in the same spot where just because he has this educational clout doesn't mean they can't manipulate and roll back on what they know is true to push forward a political agenda. So I'm not knocking him for opining. I'm knocking him for contradicting what he knows to be true educational facts.
AKA he's bot team, if you didn't get that.
Exactly. Bought and paid for it, baby. You guys see Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler cuddling up on each other, going on little cute dates together. They got each other in each other's pockets, you guys have to understand it's very lucrative for these people to make problems for an industry like this, right? If you can hold it back just long enough and let certain assets go forward, right? You don't have to be directly invested. Why do you guys think Gary Gensler is worth so much money off of his tiny little salary at the SEC? Why do you think he's worth so much money? Is he a good stock trader? Is he just a great diligent investor? No, he's a manipulator. He is a politician and he does not care about you. He only cares about lining his own pockets. You think Nancy Pelosi is a great stock trader? What does she know about stock trading? When does she have time to read the chart? She doesn't. And she's worth millions and millions of dollars off of her quote unquote, tiny little DC salary out there. These guys don't have your best interest in heart, and they will absolutely take what they know is true and gaslight you into believing that you're the idiot and you just don't understand the systematic risk associated with this asset.
Last question here. Shaw says, potential XRP ETF and potential XRP stablecoin. Can you discuss the negatives and positives of either rumor, or are these rumors complete shit or ass or whatever you try to
Some asterisks in there. All right. Like my mom would always tell me, go in the bathroom, you could say foul words. Any of your choosing, just got to be in the bathroom. So I don't have any problem with the XRP ETF. I think it would give more people the ability to have exposure right in their stock portfolios. No, confusion about custody. No having additional accounts right in their, Ameritrade or whatever their, stock portfolio management is. Being able to just add that ETF at any given time. Probably can do some auto compounding with the ETF as well. I don't have a problem with it. Some people compare it, especially people in the gold community, which I really don't resonate with most people in the metal community because they don't see assets like I do. I just see them as assets, and they're like, no, this is so much better than physical paper, and they blame the ETFs and the paper price of gold and silver for suppression. And yeah, maybe there is, but at the end of the day, market makers and market manipulation is going to be here whether we have an ETF or not. As long as there is a liquid market that's being made, you will always have the opportunity for market manipulation to set in. There's always dark pools too, right? I know a lot of you guys barely just found out about dark pools because of GME and AMC. Welcome to the game, guys. This has been happening for decades. You guys barely just found out about now because you tried to hop in on this short squeeze and just like all of a sudden had to get a crash course on how markets work and how market makers work. These dark pools have existed long before you were ever born, and they will exist long after you die. Think about poker, right? All gambling's supposed to be regulated in casinos, right? But there's plenty of backdoor games you guys can get into, play some games off the books, right? It's the exact same way with these market makers, right? So just understand that's not going away. The SEC's not going to regulate it away. And again, the SEC's probably working with these dark pools. Hey, you give us a little cut, we'll pretend like we didn't see your dark pool, right? So those are some of the things that people consider. Guys, you're in the market, you're purchasing in the market, there's going to be nefarious activity in the market, so you guys have to just hunker into high quality assets and have plans for short-term and long-term exits and not try to be too muddled by what could potentially happen with, market manipulation on a larger level from these institutional players.
I like that, man. A lot of good topics. And team, I have seen that we've gotten a lot of beginners here because you guys are asking beginner questions. And so if you are a beginner, I highly suggest you click the link down below. And on our website, we have something called the Beginner's Course. And it's a couple videos, less than 45 minutes. And you watch them, and after the end of every single video, you take a quiz. And that would be a good to know where you're at in crypto, because obviously if you watch the video, you'll be able to do it. But if you were to just do the quizzes without watching the video and you're not getting them right, you don't know crypto. Okay. So right. I suggest you guys check that out because that is what we are here for. We're here, Matty wants to bring you guys the content here, and I'm here to, facilitate whatever I can. But you guys need to get over there because I am worried that you guys are, just buying cryptos randomly, and you guys are going to get either rug pulled by some of these assets that you guys are seeing. I see it every single day. I have access to all our socials. I get to see what you guys are saying about some of these assets, and looking about the past here, a lot of those assets did not do well. And when I mean they don't do well, I mean they went to zero. The project doesn't have, you go to the website, it's like, what happened here? So that is just some perspective from their team. And if you are heavily, if you're an expert, join the community because we have other experts in there. I mean, we got our guy, right. Zach. He's constantly interacting with our community. Crypto Moonblaster, he's a G. And so we have all these guys in there that are heavily looking at the scope of crypto and know what's going on. And if you don't have that around you, I could never have got to the position I am without Matty or without Dan or without Brian, without these people around me that have been in finance and have been in their respective fields, mortgage and real estate. And Matty's a technical trader, so he's that guy. None of your other YouTubers go on TradingView. They go to CoinMarketCap, and I shouldn't have to explain why that's wrong, So, anyways, Matty, anything to leave the team with here? I just wanted to rant here just a little bit, just to get some time here. Give them some value here. Give them some, don't give them the hopium here, but give them some truth. What's some truth you have for the team today here?
Altcoin season is among us. That's truly what I believe here. I think that Bitcoin's in a spot right now that's going to be offering some potential sideways opportunity as well as a shedding in Bitcoin dominance, and we're going to see some altcoins make some shocking catch-up moves. And I think a lot of people are going to have to eat their words on Twitter and a lot of other social media outlets because they've been so impatient. People have just created these crazy timelines for themselves. So, well, if your altcoin didn't do this from October through December, you should probably sell it and you should buy these things because these are things that have pumped 5x from now and they're going to keep doing 5x from now, right? Stay focused, guys. Altcoin season always sends everyone for a loop. And part of that is that the exchanges and market makers enjoy that because they know you're going to go from one asset to the other asset, one asset to the other asset, because you're just so full of dopamine, right? Like the altcoin season is full of so much dopamine. And I know this is hard, but you have to try to detach yourself from the dopamine levels you get from seeing these charts do what they're doing or in these big impulses. Look around, see what's offering the biggest risk to reward, even from the bottom of base to even the next big liquidity zone, and try to bet on those because those are the ones that are going to at least give you some measured moves to where you're going to get quick 2, 3, 4x's. Why is that powerful? Because those 2 or 3, 4x's can be recompounded into other assets that have not taken off yet, right? So these are some of the things I guide you guys with. When I make a move, I'm never making you guys guess what it is. I tell you right on stream, I tell you right in the Discord, hey, sold 20% of my API 3, equally distributed at XRP and Casper. Boom, here's what I'm looking for on Sushi, right? I don't leave you guys in the dark. I tell you what I'm doing. You guys can do whatever you want with your money, of course, but I try to give you guys at least my game plan, what I'm doing with it. We're going to be doing a lot more rotations as the bull market goes on, and I hope to give you guys a little bit of guidance on that. And hopefully, again, my big goal for this is that by next cycle, if you guys get through a whole cycle with us, you're doing more of this on your own. You're making more decisions on your own. The technical analysis starts to be more comfortable to do on your own. That's genuinely my goal with my program, is to make you guys as self-sufficient efficient as possible. And then for us to be here as just a guiding light, giving you guys updates and kind of tips, poking you guys in the right direction.
I love that, Matty. And I was talking to you about last week. I was like, listen, we shouldn't want to be here and provide. We want to be enthusiastic, but we want to provide truth. We're not here for you guys to watch this show and afterwards make yourself feel good. We are here to bring truth. I am here facilitating Matty, using Matty as a digital asset to bring truth here. And so that's what you guys should get out of this. If you guys get truth out of this, please like this video and leave a comment down below. You guys have been showing a lot of love, actually. I really love it. I kind of miss the hate, Matty. I'm kind of like, what? Does nobody, does nobody have any follow-ups here? But anyways, team, that's what we have for today. We want to bring the truth, and we're going to bring it to you every single week after hours Ask Matty show. But if you want the full scope of truth, obviously, we have a program for a reason. So click the link, pick comment down below. Join us over there. Anything else? Am I missing anything, Matty, here? Code YouTube?
Just make sure you guys use code YouTube, right? You'll code YouTube 50% off any membership, $50 a month or $4.99 for the year. Both of them come with a 30-day free trial. You can check it out, get in the Discord, see if it's for you. If not, send me an email. You're not going to crush my feelings, and I'll make sure we get you canceled right away.
I love you guys. We love crypto, and we're here to make money in crypto. So make sure you join the community. Don't be left in the dark, and don't be left to the will of some of these influencers online, because we have the best influencer here, Matthew Breenan. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Matty, you are influencer now, actually. I have to tell
Education,
you
not influence.
Okay. All right, team, we're done for today. We will see you next week. Bye.